Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Okay, so it is about to talk about the Alibaba's system. When I mention Alibaba, I don't know whether people know about Alibaba or not, because now in media, when mentioned about Alibaba, there's lots of things about the social credit. And then the social credit always connected to the, one is the mass surveillance that alluded to by media here, to China's practices. And the others, it's very interesting, it is the TV series, Black Mirror. So I already had a go with my family a few days ago, my husband and my two grown-up sons, when I was discussing with them about China, whether this social credit is something that's really like the mass surveillance. And they accused me, they said, oh, you're defending the Chinese government. And I said, oh, well, it really made me think, because 29 years ago, I came out of China after Tiananmen Square. I came to here to do my PhD. The first thing, very brave thing I did, so I went to the Freshers' Week and joined the Communist or Marxist Society. I was really brave. I stood up with my very, very poor English, because that time my English is really poor, and tried to tell them, doesn't matter capitalist or communist or socialist. Most important is the democracy that people need. So, but the issues related to social credit, somebody might say, oh, how does this work? Okay. Okay, so what I just want to say is that when I'm talking about the social credit, it's not about mass surveillance. It is not about the dystopian future that Black Mirror referred to. And I'm arguing that creating social credit is also to value those who lack financial collaterals and who are contributing to the economy and the society. And also, whether there is a possibility, I feel that's possible, adopting mass surveillance to be performed by the online users. And own, commercial services like Alibaba and Tencent. And what the government need to do is to make sure that, ensure the role of the users in the process of the experimentation, because this is the practices now happening in China. And that actually, I'm increasingly interested in reading Douglas' paper. He's economist, but that time is swept aside because don't believe that it is a proper economic theory, but he wrote about social credit. The main point I feel is quite interesting, because I do not really feel myself is completely agree with him on all accounts. But this is very important, I think very interesting, is that he rejects the idea of the role of the money as a standard or measure of the value, because the value, there are lots of value cannot be measured by the money. So the others, he suggested that need to remove the policy production from banking institution or government. Actually, he wanted to hand this role to the consumers. But he's quite interesting. He was talking about consumers using the purchasing power. That I don't really agree. But I think in that time, because he's quite early, that's early on, so that time it wasn't possible. But today, I feel it might be possible in the digital age. It is about the people. I don't know whether, because lots of time I go to China, I found in reality people gradually recognize the power of the people, because the internet, there's so many people in China. There's over 800 million netizens. So people use mobile phone, access to the online services and social platforms. People, all using, and they're singing and film themselves and send to the online. So all these things, they found they can do something about it. And so that is, I feel, why I, otherwise I won't come to here to talk about the Alibaba, because I feel maybe here, most of you come from, lots of you from developing country, that's good things. And so let me just briefly to talk about the Alibaba's financial system. Although Alibaba is not only run the financial system, Alibaba's the core business is the e-commerce platform. But also, actually, Alibaba has so many different platforms they run. Also have online music, film, and e-literature, and also taxi services and bicycle sharing, everything they have. But about the financial system, possibly I should mention about Jack Ma. But when Jack Ma started his business, he was a teacher. And all of a sudden, he went to the United States. They found it very interesting have a website, online platforms he wanted to set up in China. But he tried to raise about 50,000 Chinese yuan, but he couldn't. So wherever he went, because in China this time, the bank only have a big state bank. They don't really lend money to individuals. And he had no collaterals. Why they have to give him 50,000 Chinese yuan? So he's always in his mind, he wanted to have, establish a bank. So when he started by the Alipay, that time the Alipay is very, similar to PayPal. And then he set up the Ant Financial. And the meaning is, the purpose is to provide financial services to small and micro enterprises. And to do that, it's not that easy, because with these people, the SMEs, in particular the micro enterprises, the individuals, they don't have collateral. So he had to set up the Sesame Credit. So this is very much a Sesame Credit. The people use that model, to say that's the Chinese social credit system of the government. And after that, launched the My Bank. This is the first commercial bank built on the technology of the cloud computing. And here I wanted to first acknowledge the contribution of the Yuanming Cho, who's my PhD student, who is now working on So I have to go back to see what's the context in China. In China, there was, in the socialist regime, there was no credit system at all. And because people knows, we all know each other on the whole street, people knew each other. And the traditional Chinese society is not ruled by law, it's ruled by social moral. And I think possibly here all knows kind of trust and 关系. But after the economic reform, because the money, the attractive, the appealing of to make money becomes so important, and the people moving about. And now the society is very much a mobile society. When I went back home, and I could see this, the local dialects is no longer you can hear from walking on the street, and people all speak Mandarin. And then you see the people in front of you is someone, it may look quite nice, but there's no history, you don't know, you can't trust them. So the trust has become the least commodity available element in China. So the credit is very important. After there's such an idea about the credit, and all of a sudden, many now, I think it's about over 200 credit system service firms already emerged. But Sesame Credit is the first, based on the data trace and the cloud computing. Of course, the people's position, later on they realized there are lots of problems. And for example, this guy, it's just, it's a little store and making the, what do you call it? It's not pancake, what do you call it? Naan oil. In Chinese we call it bing. So this kind of business is all over the place. But these people, definitely, they are not the local city dwellers. They came from different regions or countryside. These kind of people, they need, just to buy that oven, or what you call this. They need money. Where to get this money? So that is the Alibaba's, the bank, my bank. They give people the money. Do you see this QR? So that is the Alipay, and in China the micro or the mobile pay is very almost everywhere. So you don't really use cash. You go out, wherever you go, you just pay by a mobile pay. So like these kind of people, their business is supported, can be supported by the. So what it is not, the people are thinking about it's so bad about the social credit. Actually, here you can see it is important for China, to capture and value the social credit. And it's these people, people need to know the person is providing you food is trustworthy. And Jack Ma's, the original design is, tried to finance the many and not the few, although you possibly recognize this phrase, actually, it's Jeremy Corbyn's phrase. And I have to say something about, I joined Labour when Jeremy Corbyn was elected. But each time when I heard the phrase, what he in the Labour say, I said, do you know who are the few, who are the many? And what's the few's thinking? What do they want? Nobody knows, because you don't have a trace. And whether the few may be switched to the many. This is all in constant change. So if you don't know what people are changing, then it doesn't mean very much about the few or the many. So that is I feel I'm, it's kind of a advocate of social credit. So I think that's just the beneficial, although there's challenges. So the My Bank now what is running. Now it's already can I just look at the data? My Bank is operating in the 24/7 days situation. Also, they are running the system. It's called 310. 310. It means 3 minutes. You get online and fill the application, and there's a zero person's intervention, and 1 second the money goes to your account. So if the system found live data and found this credit as good enough. So, and then it was My Bank was established in June 2015, and in the first year didn't make profit. But when I look at the 2017, in the end of 2017, they already have give the loan, provided loan to over 5 million small and micro enterprises. And I think I have the data here, okay. And the lending is over 64 billion, and they only have employees, only 377. And if you look at their revenue actually is I will consider this is a cost, and it's very efficient. So the cost actually is less than 1%. So if you compare, I put that in comparison with the world financial system. The world financial system, it's the global financial system. If you look at the world economy, it was 77 trillion, but the financial sector itself was of 13 trillion. So it's a 16.8% of the cost. And in general, if I do look at the how many companies that World Financial Service provides the service to these large companies, about 600,000. But Alibaba's finance during that year is already 5 million, over 5 million. So if I show you the previous one, they're already planning to serve in, this was, I think this was 2017, so you already look at the 3 years, they're going to serve to 30, because of this number is quite odd, this Chinese calculation. So actually it's the 30 million. They're expecting serve 30 million as small and micro enterprises. So if you look at that, that is the value to the society. I think if let this kind of system to run the financial system of the world, possibly we can, people can benefit much. The society can benefit much more. if you think about the financial market, the Lehman Brothers during the crisis period, Lehman Brothers went bankrupt, but the CEO kept, I think, 480 million US dollars. So okay, you go. You know, the banks is no longer there. Okay, the money is for the remuneration. So you can see the financial sector, the whole world is supporting on. But if we have that system, you know, I feel that is very beneficial. And the trouble is that on the Alibaba Sesame credit system, and because, as I said, Alibaba has got this integrated platforms, collect all these data. So people, Alibaba knows everything. You know, for example, I look at what they say about Alibaba knows about you. Because they have Alipay and always use the mobile payment. So every morning you go out, you buy things, or you ride a bicycle and you buy a snack or buy lunch, everything will be captured. But again, do you think we don't have that data here? Of course, you know, our credit card company knows what we do, what we buy. And do you think it's not Google also knows your, you know, where you travel, and Facebook and LinkedIn, they all know, you know, what you're talking about, your email. I think the American CIA, they can best track what you do. So, but these are hidden system out there. I feel this one actually is the Alibaba system is transparent to some extent, although the algorithm, you know, my student I asked the student whether they'd be able to find the algorithm, said, oh, there's no chance to find the algorithms, but I think the algorithms still change all the time. So I want to show you the one, this one is I joined Alipay, so I can see I've got 598 score, and usually they come from 300 something to 950. So it's the kind of range. So the score I have got is not too bad. It's kind of 600, you know, become that's the middle. So I haven't got there, but because I don't really use it. But I found it very interesting because if I look at the history, so I look at the history. Actually, my score is changing, but I haven't done anything to this. So I believe that their algorithm is changing as well. So you can see that one, and you can also ask a question about they use the 5 different dimensions. There's 3 actually is about the social credit. It's about your interpersonal relations. Are you good at, you know, your friends, they're really like you, or you have good friends, and what are your behavior and preference? Do you go to a gambling place, or actually you are doing cycling, or do you go to gym, or all these things? And what kind of book you read? So these kind of material they do, you know, they can, I think they can use. But of course, they said they have very clear policies saying we don't collect your emails about your, you know, your views about the votes and these things they do not really collect. And even you have done something bad, if you fight on the train and have a record, but in 5 years' time this data will be gone. So why? Because the people are monitoring this. This is all in Chinese, but these are the comments. You can see the users constantly put on the comments about this. And also you can complain, have a complaint procedures. And you will complain why my, the personal, interpersonal relationship, the score very low, or, you can make inquiry about the situation. So, and also there's the other side, so some personal information. If you feel you do not have enough financial collateral, then you might put on other data. So it's your own contribution. So you can encourage if you want to put on. But most of the people don't really care. If I have money, I don't really care. I have a high credit. Because of the high credit, if you have a high credit, you can use the bicycle sharing scheme without deposit. You can, if you want to book a hotel, you don't need to have a deposit, and all these things. But it's not the big thing. Okay, I think my time is run out, and I better stop here. Mainly what I want to argue is that you have to, one is the people are now, because the Alibaba itself has got over 500,000 users. So they are constantly make comments or make complaints or saying something good. The things the first one said, oh, it's really good, but others saying why, arguing why their credit is low. So this is the people are monitoring. The size of the mass they're monitoring, 500 million people. I think this is nearly European altogether is 700 million. You have that many people. They are monitoring. The business they rely on is the business as users. So this is one thing. The other one is I think this is the experimentation. So always you need to improve. I could see the Alibaba's, I think the algorithm possibly is changing very quickly. But Alibaba is only one of them. There are over 200 companies. They are doing different things. And because Alibaba's got the data as the most integrated, almost everything, but others do not have, the e-commerce, do not have others. So that is why I use Alibaba as an example. Okay, so that's all.
Thank you.